is this telling the full truth? Because a lot of times will tell you what they
The
dealing
side
with.
that's better for right.
And it's not.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Like on some serious, like homie just a couple weeks ago was like, yo, I'm dealing with this, dealing with that. My I need the full
Come
story.
on now, what you do?
Okay,
I know this ain't it.
That
ain't
don't even
it.
sound right.
And that's a real friend.
That
That's a real friend.
That don't even sound right. Yeah, you got caught up in some shit,
Yeah.
but you got caught up.
Yeah, what happened?
Because what?
What's the rest of the story?
And that's what I'm talking about. Not just leaning on, oh, nah, such and such wrong because they did this, they did that. Well, what did you do to contribute to that?
And a lot of people got friends that's not saying,
Exactly.
what did you do? They
Right,
just thinking they did that.
Yeah.
You need to.
Now, granted, their response might have been out of pocket, but did you do something that warranted that suspicion or response?
Some people think that people are only your friend if they tell you all the stuff you want to hear.
Yeah.
They agree with what you say. If something go down, they on your side, this and that, whatever. If someone really cares about you, they not going to let you be any kind of way.
Yo, welcome to the cave with Mel, Troy, and Lex. The podcast where men can have a safe space. We on all platforms. You need to tune in, hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Welcome to Melody, the podcast where men can have a safe space. Welcome to Melody. Welcome to the cave with Mel, Troy, and Lex.
What's going on, everybody? You know what it is, man. We back for another edition of Melly D's podcast. It's your boy Melly Mel, a.k.a. Melly Badass, a.k.a. Meek Mel, a.k.a. your favorite two-teller, a.k.a. if you don't want to know, don't ask me. What's going on?
It's your boy T. Roy, a.k.a. your neighborhood hope dealer, a.k.a. if you need some hope, I got something for you to borrow. Make sure you share, like, subscribe, and follow.
Hey.
What it do, though? It's your boy, Dr. Life Coach Lace, a.k.a. NBA Old Boy, a.k.a. I'm him, a.k.a. that's hella plausible, a.k.a. let's get it. What we talking about today, fellas?
We got a lot to talk about. We're talking about friendships.
Friends.
I mean, we did an episode recently about friends, but this one more of a different angle. Last
Friendship
time we talked
2.0.
about, Yeah. Let's call it Friendships 2.0.
Got you. Okay.
Friendships 2.0. Because previously we had talked about men developing friendships and how we go about cultivating those, etc. But this time I think we're going to talk about it from a different lens of just having solid people in your ear as far as like who you keep around you, that type of thing. So definitely a different conversation, but Friends 2.0 for sure.
This is how I know you are a good friend.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm talking and while I'm talking, you look at me and say, hey, bro, you got something in your teeth. Go ahead and get that out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got something in my teeth?
No, not right now.
I mean, you just knocked down a whole bag of nuts. Pause.
Pause, bro. Come on, man.
Hey,
He was shaking them joints.
he was though.
I was not.
Thought that was at a dice game.
See, and this is no good deed goes unpunished. Here I am. They had a plethora of snacks laid out, right? They had a plethora of snacks. They had the chips. They had the crackers. They had something else. And I was like, you know what? Let me go the healthy route. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The moment I go the healthy route, to take care of my body.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I come in here, you was shaking them up. You
Shaking them up.
You had a handful of nuts in your mouth. And this is why we having Friends 2.0, because I'm taking applications for friendships right now.
Shaking them up.
I'm taking applications for friendships because I'm sick of these two right here beside me right now.
Shaking them up.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's crazy.
You know what's funny? People have been pissing me off lately because they be acting like we be getting pause and stuff from It Is What It Is. Like we've been doing this for 2 years, y'all.
Right.
2 years.
2 years.
We've had this podcast for 2 years. I think it's our 2-year anniversary. By the time
it is our 2-year anniversary, bro.
Yeah.
2 years in the game, y'all. We've been saying pause and Ayo, that's crazy and all that since the beginning. So if anything, this is borrowing from us. I just want y'all to know that. We've been saying this for forever.
But why would somebody think that we gotta take from somebody else's?
I have no idea.
It's a lingo. It's what people is
Right.
like. It's accustomed to where we've come from, where we've been, those kind of things. So why would somebody assume that we took that from another
you know how people do.
avenue?
We've been saying this since high school, bro.
I mean, come on, man.
high school.
Crazy.
Like I will say, other media outlets have been definitely going it is what it
yeah.
is.
Most
Right? Like
definitely.
ESPN, Undisputed,
Yes,
like those
yes,
definitely
yes.
you were not doing that before. And
Never.
now you see it as trending.
Yeah.
Now you're trying to
Yeah.
do it or whatever. But Manly D's been on this. We've been doing this. You know what I'm saying? So
Crazy. But anyway,
whatever.
But
Friends
anyway,
2.0.
Friends
Friends
2.0.
2.0. Why did this come up anyway?
Well, I ain't gonna say it came up because of this, but it was a good segue into this conversation. It's old news now, but for the sake of the conversation, I'll rehash what happened. As I ain't gonna say as we all know, but most people know, Tyrese went through a situation where he was married and went through a painstaking divorce. Was when he had all of his least desirable moments about himself. Like he was going crazy on his medication, stuff like that, as he was going through his divorce situation. Recently came out because everyone's on this oversharing and media tour stuff that they doing. His ex-wife was on a podcast and she recently revealed that she actually regrets getting divorced. She regrets going through the process. She regrets initiating divorce. And I don't really say she took accountability in saying that it was her fault, but she more so put it off on my friends were pushing me to do this. My friends were telling me that this is the route that I should take, X, Y, and Z, and I listened to my friends when I should not have listened to my friends. So the reason that this conversation came up is because it's like, how much influence should our friends have on the decisions that we make in our life? And then should we be listening to our friends' dumbass advice when they give us, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that was stupid advice
Uh-huh.
from them. And this is exactly why married people be telling other married people not to listen to single people,
Yeah.
not to have single friends, not to have all that stuff. And this is why men are constantly fussing with their women about not putting them in our business, because this is an example of what we talking about. So Friends 2.0 is basically just from that lens, having good people around you. How do you know when you got good people around you? How do you know when you're getting sound advice from your friends, or when people are, I would say, I don't even think that they were her real friends.
Oh, absolutely.
Like listening to this
Yeah.
story, I'm not even going to say that they were her real friends, because your real friends wouldn't push you to do something that would be a detriment to you and your child and your situation.
Right.
So
Right.
What they say, misery loves company.
misery loves company.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like it was some miserable people trying to pull her into their misery.
It's okay to say I know you're trying to get around.
I'm not going to say that. That's what I think I'm not going to
It's a
do.
general term. I don't know you individually.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that.
That's fine.
But my question, and I wholeheartedly agree with everything you just said. The question is, how can you even determine what is bad information? What is bad advice? You know what I'm saying? Specifically from the people around you, because you think that they would know you and they know the situation. At least you hope so. So how can you even filter out what's, good, bad, ugly, get rid of, whatever?
Yeah.
Because at one point it sounded good to her, right? That she went along with it. And divorce is not a one-day decision. It's a bunch of steps. You got to have the separation. Then you had to have a year. You got to have a whole year separation. You got to have a year, and then you got to sign the papers. You got a mediation, all that type of stuff. Like,
with certain states, a divorce
Different,
process
yeah.
is different depending on
it's
what
true.
it is you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So you give them Virginia laws, which is true. But other
North
states,
Carolina too.
North Carolina got the year separation too.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. It can be faster depending on what you're filing for. What's the reason? Like all that kind of stuff changes. So it's not necessary. There are still steps.
It's not a
though.
one size
Yeah,
fits all.
there's still a lot of steps that you have to go through for. But I would say, as far as like, how do you know when this is stupid advice?
If you've never experienced it.
Number one, if you've never been in my shoes, that's first and foremost. If we're not, I would say, on the same playing field or whatever, and from the standpoint of like, I talk to y'all, or more so Troy, just because I feel like we're in a similar situation as far as like length of time being married, stuff like that. So if we're in a similar situation, I know that I could probably get sound advice from you because we're on the battlefield together. We're in the game. But I don't think LeBron is coming to the bench, talking to the man at the back end of the bench like, hey, what you think I should do right now?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
That's a
you know what I'm
good
saying? Like,
analogy.
Great analogy.
That's a real good
great
analogy.
You're not even in the game. So
Yeah.
why am I going to come to you to ask you, or listen to your advice? If you all the way last man, you still got your sweatsuit on, and I hear you screaming advice to me from the bench, like, hey, you need to watch out for,
Yeah.
dude, just keep your ass down there on the end of the bench.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like that. And then if it's I would say a detriment to your situation. Like if
Yes.
it's not helping you progress, if it's not going to help you move in the direction that you want to move, which I'm just going to say in general, I don't believe that most people get married with the intention of getting divorced. So if I'm not in a situation where I'm being abused, or if I'm not in that type of thing, and you just telling me to make these decisions just because I'm unhappy or it don't look how you think it should look, then I think we
Correct.
call that stupid advice. And then we should know how to, stay away from that. So I just think that first and foremost, that if you feel like it's coming from a what they would do space and not what you should do
right.
space,
Yeah.
I think that's one way to quickly determine this probably ain't the best advice for me.
History and data.
History and data. And I just Googled while Mel was talking signs that you have received bad advice. So let's see what the Googles have to say.
Okay, Google.
You know what I'm saying? Your gut says heck no. Number one, your gut says heck no. So I can tell a white man probably put this list together. Number two, the advice is from someone who doesn't get you or your goals.
Come on now.
To Mel's point, the advice isn't aligned with your ultimate vision or values. Number three. Number four, the advisor isn't qualified.
Okay.
Your resume is
It's
not
not resume.
You can give me this advice. And the energy feels wrong. The energy that you are putting into giving me the advice is off.
Yeah,
So,
what is your motive for telling me this?
right?
You know
So those are 5 reasons, according to Forbes, as to why you've probably received some bad advice. So if your gut says heck no,
Heck no.
that means
I ain't gonna lie
you
to you.
probably received some bad advice.
I ain't gonna hold you, Lace. I was dumb mad while you was on your phone and we was recording just now. I was like, why is he texting right now?
See,
We are
assume.
recording.
You assume,
And you proved me wrong, and I'm so
assume.
glad. I'm so
See what
glad.
I'm talking about? See what I'm talking about? See what I'm talking about? Like, you just be on some other stuff, man.
See what I'm talking about?
But no, you're right. The resume ain't resume.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like, what makes you qualified in order to share this information with me?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. So that's what I'm saying.
But
In
I think
her
it
case-
also go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. For real.
I would say it also goes to show too, as Mel alluded to in the story, telling people all your business.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, people will do things they could be try to get back at you to put you in a precarious situation, to have you experience hurt that they may be still carrying from past trauma or whatever. So there's a multitude of reasons as to why, even from getting advice, you have to assess, should I be doing this for myself or should I go down this pathway, regardless of what it is.
Yeah.
So I think people oftentimes take the word of their friends as gospel when they don't go back and assess their individual situation to see how it aligns and how it could impact them and others long run.
Yeah. And advice is just
Advice.
That advice.
Yeah.
You hear what somebody say, you run it through a list of scenarios. If it don't get you the outcome that you're trying to get to, it's not advice that you need to take.
Correct.
Because while it is advice that somebody is good for somebody, don't necessarily means it's good advice for you.
Right. Exactly. So I think you have to look at all the layers. But the fact that she would even come out, and this is not solely based on her because we're talking about it holistically, but the fact that she would come out and say that now, but she obviously hindsight's 2020, but the fact that she hadn't told Tyrese that, like, that says a lot about who she is
She didn't
as an individual.
She didn't tell him what.
That she regretted. That was like her first time sharing.
She
it.
came out on
podcast.
camera on a
Yeah.
podcast saying she regretted, but she never told him.
Right.
Yeah. And then he responded like a couple days after her video came out and was contradicting it. Like what she was saying. Like if you really felt that way, then you wouldn't have done half the stuff that you've done to me.
Right.
in this process.
But again, you never know who's in somebody's ear. And and his single that he dropped from that situation, a banger.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So he's back on the rotation, but he went through a lot. And we talked in previous episodes about humiliation. What would you deal with, etc.
Mm-hmm.
He's been completely humiliated
Facts.
in a multitude of ways. And the fact that she couldn't have a one-on-one conversation with him, just simply admitting like, yo, if I could go back and change it, I would, whatever. But he hears about it from a podcast interview. Just says a lot about who she could potentially be and who is in her circle as a whole.
That told a lot about her character.
Right.
It definitely did.
I just want to know who the friends were. like what like we've been talking about qualifications. Like what qualifies you to give me this advice? Like what type of friends were they? Were they jaded women? Were they women who had been maybe with like higher status men who had babies or whatever, and they like, girl, this is how you can get X, Y, and Z a month.
Yeah,
or if you do this type of situation. And like, I just don't know what would cause her to listen to them.
And that brings up the point of this, because I think some people could hear this podcast and say, well, then I can't just be friends with anybody because no one has a resume that I, whatever. Mm-hmm. I think you can have a plethora of friends.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Different statuses, different scenarios, all this type of stuff. But only a certain few get to come that close. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like for myself, I have friends that, I love to hoop with. Yeah. But I'll never take advice from you. Right. I want you on my team because you can hit a three. Yeah. But the way your life set up, ain't nothing you can tell me. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You can't tell me. Right. But in other scenarios, we could be friends. And I think sometimes we confuse the two because you can do well for me in this one area, and we conflate that with, then you can help me with my life scenarios. Right. You know what I'm saying? And that's and I think and so we don't want people to hear this and be like, well, I need to get rid of some friends. Like, you can keep your friends, but just make sure you got them in categorical order. Of how they contribute to your life. Right.
And I think too, a lot of times, men and women, like you mentioned, we conflate friendships and we think like it has to be this all-encompassing, everybody has a voice in your life or an opinion about what you should be doing. Nah, that's not how it works. Yeah. It's not how it works. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have my doctorate. I'm not going to get, educational advice from a who got a GED. That's just not what it is, you know what I'm saying? Not knocking them, because we can have other connections. It could be other life experiences, other wisdom that can be shared, etc. But academically, no, you can't really tell me.
You can't tell me nothing.
You know what I'm saying?
I know somebody with a GED right now can tell me how to flip a brick.
Absolutely.
Flip a brick, we can make $1 million by the end of the week. And be surgical.
And be surgical
You know what I'm saying?
And be surgical
But dag on it, I'm not about to ask you about these interest rates that I'm about to pay for this house. You feel me?
Right.
Because you don't even pay taxes.
And that's not knocking nobody, you know what I'm saying? It's just the facts. It's just
you do what
facts.
You do. You know what I'm saying?
Just the facts.
So yeah, who are these friends?
Who are the friends?
Right.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Who are the friends?
Yeah.
And why are you letting them that close to be able to share that information with you?
Or to even guide you into making a decision. I mean, I understand sharing information. Like, you can share what you want to share. We know friends across the board, they overshare, they don't share enough, whatever, however it fits into your ecosystem. But at the end of the day, how are they going to influence you enough to make a decision?
Sure.
That is life-changing. You who has to make the decision.
Yes.
Life-changing.
Do you know who you are?
Right.
Do you know what you represent? You know what I'm saying? Like, all of those various factors.
I'm going to tell you one factor I can guarantee she didn't have. The friends that she had were just friends with her and not with her husband. Now, they don't have to hang out. They don't have to chill. You know what I'm saying? Whatever.
I got you.
But if you are friends with me, but you are not also connecting yourself for the well-being for the both of us, then you don't have the best interest for both of us.
I kind of disagree, because my friends are not Sharita's friends.
Sure.
And Sharita's friends are not my friends, depending on the situation.
Sure.
And I don't think that I have to be friends with her friends in order for the relationship to be, sustained or whatever. Right. I don't think that that's a thing. I don't need her to be friends with my friends, whatever. Like, I will have them. So and I feel like that's in most cases. You're saying like, oh, well, her friends, it probably would have been better if her friends were also friends with Tyrese, in the sense of like a loyalty thing. It's
not
like,
I don't know if you're saying friends, but have a understanding of
the best interest for us together
as a collective. Not like we got to be cool.
Yeah.
But whatever I'm telling you is for the best interest of both.
But that's what I'm saying. Most people are gonna be speaking on the best interest of the person that they're connected to, not on the from the lens of what's best for the two of you because you my friend.
Mm-hmm.
He may not be my friend or she may not be my friend, but you my friend. So when I talk to you, I'm talking to you from a lens of what I think is best for you personally, or, you know, if I'm really a friend, what's best for you personally. If I'm not, then I'm just gonna be one-sided and biased in this situation.
But I think therein lies the problem, because at the end of the day, yes, I'm going to look out for you, but I'm also going to say, have you thought about it from this angle? Because this is going to impact the whole collective. You know what I'm saying? So yes, I'm looking out for you regardless, because me and you are friends, but looking at the big picture, whatever decision you make is going to impact everybody else that you got in your life, your circle, whatever. So you have to look at it from that lens too. And that's what a good friend or a friend that's imparting wisdom upon you would say.
Right.
You know, yes, it affects you directly, but what about the indirect impact around you?
So, for instance, you don't know my wife, right? But you know me. I've expressed to you, this is someone that I value, right? So, by vicariously through me, you friends with her, even though you don't know anything about her.
Right.
So whenever I talk to you and I'm saying things that may not be positive for us, you be like, hey, bro, I remember your values. Let me bring you back to the values that you share with me at one point, because I would hate to be the individual, to be the one that once everything, all the dust settled, was like, well, he helped me through this process of making sure I separated from you. You know what I'm saying? So like the decision making that I would make, or that the advice that you would give would be like, hey, Troy, you know, hey, let me remind you of these, let me remind you of this. I want what's best for you. And part of what's best for you is what you have indulged with me previously, despite what has gone on currently.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm doing that. I'm saying from the lens that most people have, especially about their friendships and relationships, especially concerning marriage. Like you'll see, it's both sided. Like someone will show up, like those, like you'll bring your new girlfriend around to meet us, and then one of us will be like, "Hey, this is my nigga, don't do my man wrong. You gonna have a problem? Whatever." So as long as y'all relationship is good, I might see her as my friend. Oh, that's Troy's girl. She under the umbrella. So if something going with her, you know, I'm second in line to help with whatever happens. But if he come to me and tell me all the stuff she done wrong to him, all the ways that she's hurt him or something like that, I start leaning on Troy. Like this my right. You're not my friend. You know what I'm saying? You're not my friend. This my man. So let me tell. Now I'm talking to you. Like, oh, she doing that. She doing that. You need to. Then you might want to. You know. Then I start throwing that around. And if I'm hurt or if I'm in that damaged space, or if he's in that damaged space, my advice might start sounding good to him.
I ain't gonna lie to you, Mel. You might sound like the friends that was helping her through her divorce.
But I'm saying that's how they. I'm feeling like that's how they be talking.
But
though.
I think too, the other piece in that is, although that might be how it's kicked to an extent, but at the end of the day, the decisions that you make, are you comfortable with that? So, say for instance, the same scenario, you do my wrong, we got a problem, whatever. How in the hell are you going to, for one, live with that decision, knowing that you contributed to it?
Yeah.
And two, is this telling the full truth? Because a lot of times will tell you what they
the
dealing
side
with,
that's better for
and it's not.
I know,
so,
that's what I'm saying.
Like on some serious, like homie just a couple weeks ago was like, yo, I'm dealing with this, dealing with that. My nigga, I need the full
Come
story.
on now, what you do?
Come
I
on
know
now.
this ain't it.
That don't even sound right.
And that's a real friend right there. That's a real friend.
That don't even sound right. Yeah, you got caught up in some shit, but you got caught up.
Yeah, what happened?
Because what?
What's the rest of the story?
And that's what I'm talking about. Not just leaning on, oh, nah, such and such wrong because they did this, they did that. Well, what did you do to contribute to that?
And a lot of people got friends that's not saying,
exactly.
What did you do? They just thinking they did that.
Yeah.
You need to.
Now, granted, their response might have been out of pocket, but did you do something that warranted that suspicion or response?
Now, that's a qualification for a good friend.
Right. Yeah.
Tell me the whole story.
The story.
Before I jump in this right now.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to be giving advice based upon one-sidedness.
Right.
I don't want to be giving advice if I don't know the story.
Right.
Because you ask me, give me a half truth, and then I give you something, and you be like, well, this also happened. And I'll be like, hey.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah.
What happened? Like, tell me what happened if you really want me to.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So I'm just. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Some people think that people are only your friend if they tell you all the stuff you want to hear.
Yeah.
They agree with what you say. If something go down, they're on your side. This and that, whatever. If someone really cares about you, they're not gonna let you be any kind of way. They're going to challenge what you say. They're going to challenge what you do, especially if we've had conversation about values and my goals and all that type of stuff. If I'm really your friend, when I see you going contrary to what we talked about, I'm going to say something to you. Whether you like it or not, it's going to be unsolicited. It ain't going to feel good all the time. And that's how you going to know when somebody on your side. If they agree with everything that you say all the time, they not your people, bro.
Then we must be best friends.
We are best friends.
Yeah.
For real. I'm honest. I keep a no team around me, bro. Everyone I keep around me, I know will tell me about myself.
So how but that's another thing too. If you keep a no team around you, eventually, how do you not give into that inkling of yourself that desires a yes man?
Who does that though? I don't desire.
You know what I'm saying? Because
but some people do.
Some do.
People,
I'm just saying. For me,
I say a lot of people do. Honestly,
the reason why I say that is because I say me and Melvin best friends because we don't agree on a lot.
Yeah,
we be going back and forth on a lot. We agree.
We agree on a lot.
We agree. Yes, we see things. We arrive at
the conclusion.
Differently. Yes. But eventually, who's to say that one day that I'm like, you know what? I want a friend that's gonna tell me yes. Because Lace's one of Lace's tagline, people are fickle.
Yes.
And I keep hearing no and no and no, not realizing this is a good friend. Mm-hmm. And then I go and seek a yes man.
Yeah, so when you seek that nigga that's gonna tell you yes and you doing 25 to life for a dumbass decision you made, then you'll reflect and be like, I wish I had a nigga in my space that would have told me no.
Right. But here's how you know, Troy. Here's how you know. You can always tell when people are doing it. We talk about all the time, like people have different friend groups. Like y'all one of my friend groups, I got other friend groups and stuff like that. You'll know who the no group is for a person based on the type of stuff that they're doing when they're around certain people. Mm-hmm. So if I know that you're gonna give me a hard no, but Lace might be more progressive and give me a yes, I might go to him about the foolishness that I might be bringing his way because he might be play along with what I got going on. Mm-hmm. If I really don't want to know, if I really don't want nobody to stop me, I'm like, I definitely ain't talking to Troy.
Right.
I wrap it up. You know, I know it. Like I know what Troy on. Lace might be your. You know, if I want to take this foolishness, I'm gonna go to Lace.
Yeah.
So if I don't want to be held,
appreciate this.
I'm just listen.
You know what I'm saying?
People,
I really don't appreciate this analogy.
Okay, well, this analogy can be used because we know. B-Dubs over here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we know what Troy on.
Yeah.
3 laughs. You got 3 laughs and you done.
We out of here.
So if a lot of people are like that. If I don't want to be held accountable, if I really don't want to be told no, if I know the truth but I don't want to do what I know I should do and I kind of want to move in that direction anyway, I'm going to find the people
right.
that are going to enable me to do. Sure. They're going to help me lie. They're going to help me scheme. They're going to help me do whatever. So that's how they, you know, I ain't gonna say fall to it, but that's how they avoid it. When you say, if I got that inner inkling to get a yes, I'm gonna find the yes group.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the yes group. I'm gonna get away from the no's because I don't want them to stop me from doing what I'm trying to do.
Right.
You know, the funniest thing is when you go to the person that you know gonna give you a no or a negative, and they be like, "Oh yeah, that's what's up." You're like, "For real?"
Yeah.
You got to be. You kidding me? No, you serious? Yeah, do that joint. Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So you want a yes group?
No. I'm just saying people are fickle. Mm-hmm. We have the ink. We want to be validated in our thinking and in our feelings. And oftentimes the validation that we want hasn't been filtered in our minds just so yet. And so we just want that moment of I just want validation from somewhere, and we seek it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so in those cases when it does happen, and because all of us deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Like if I want a certain answer, I know I can go over to my mama and ask this question. I get a certain answer. I go to Lace. You know what I'm saying? So how do we prevent that? And then also on top of that, one thing I would encourage us to do is if you do have circles where, you know, you can get a yes man or whatever case may be, don't just go to one circle. Ask around, you know what I'm saying? Have a couple people, you know, Jesus himself, he had 3 in his inner circle, you know what I'm saying? And he went to, he didn't get no advice from them, but, but he had 3 in his inner circle in which, you know, he communicated with. So, and they were 3 different individuals, you know what I'm saying? And so I think for us, we shouldn't just always have that one person that we go to for advice. We should have a mixture of it.
So I think that becomes I'm not gonna say difficult would be the right word to use, but it's just how do you balance what should be shared versus what shouldn't? Because that's a conversation that we have all the time. Where
Yes.
I'm more open about stuff, and y'all be like, hey, you need to be closed off a little bit more with what you know what I'm saying, what you share. You don't tell everybody what you talking about. And I'd be like, I don't really care. But y'all might be more guarded. So then how do you find, I guess, the balance in holding things close to the vest, but also not isolating yourself in your own thoughts to where you can't even function properly because then you living off your own thoughts.
Yeah.
Because if I never talk about what I'm thinking in here and I just act off what I think, I could lie to myself.
Sure.
Or I could convince myself of something I shouldn't be doing. Sometimes I need that temperature check for me to say, hey, yo, how does this sound? And I say it and I need you to tell me I'm nutty or, you know what I'm saying, or something like that to get me back in line. So how do you balance as a person the conversation of not having people all up in your business, but like, hey, I need a lifeline or something that's going to help me because if I don't talk about it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm going to go crazy. Like I'm in my own head.
Yeah. We need that. We need that outlet, man. We need that outlet. And I don't know the answer to that question, but you got to find that outlet somewhere. Everyone should have someone who's side by side with them that walks with them on a day-to-day basis. They should have someone that they're pouring into, and I feel like everyone should have at least one mentor that they can go to that knows their life. At minimum one. They should have multiple, but at minimum one, a mentor who has experienced life, has a little bit on their resume, you know what I'm saying, that can pour into somebody.
And the thing is accountability check too. Like in those situations for me is more so like, yo, this is what I may be processing or thinking. From an accountability standpoint, what are the risks and what is the return on investment? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I personally do in navigating certain situations in life, or whether it's, personal business, whatever. But thinking about it from that space where it's like we friends, but I'm also looking at you, as Troy mentioned, like from a wisdom standpoint, from what I could be dealing with at that time.
Yeah.
So keeping good people around you.
Qualified good people around you.
But who's doing the quality checks though? There's no Carfax for friends.
There is.
What you do, like your memory bank?
Absolutely. Like you can look at it, particularly like say for instance our friend group, what you've experienced personally, what the decisions that you make from a business standpoint, how you deal with family. Our family dynamics are all different. The way we grew up was all different. All of that impacts how you are friends with somebody.
Oh yeah.
So you can look at that and say, okay, this is somebody that I can be cool with, or this is how we can connect. I think a lot of times we look at it from a very linear space when it's more a lot of different components that mold together to make a sound friendship, and how you can take advice or how you can lean in on something that somebody has done or navigated or experienced. And a lot of times people look at it from linear. This is where I'm at. This is where they at. This is where we going. Well, no. What about this person? Or what about the situation where you had a childhood trauma? How has that impacted your adult life? You had a relationship trauma. How has that impact? I mean, it don't always have to be trauma, but you can look at those things and showcase this is how we can connect and engage from what we're dealing with across the board.
So I guess there is a Carfax for friends.
Absolutely. You just got to be willing to actually
Apply
it that way.
Okay, good point. So let's play that out, right? So a friend gives you some advice. Let's say, for instance, let's use Tyrese's ex-wife, right? One of her friends was like, "Girl, you should drop him. Make sure that you when you drop him, you ask for this when y'all at mediation. Make sure that you get this and get that, because I know that you can get this." Okay, I heard your advice. Pull back real quick. How do you know this?
Right.
How do you know?
Yeah.
Oh, because I went through a man just like this, and he was just like Tyrese. Let me stop you right there.
Right.
Let me stop you right there. Because you are living vicariously through me to get what you want.
Right.
And so you want me to suffer just so you can get back with your previous situation. See, that I appreciate your advice. I'm going to take it as a grain of salt.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, think about even with when Steve Harvey was dropping all his books and like that, and how men, women alike were reading the books like, oh, he's such a great relationship expert, etc. Ain't nobody sit back and say, this been married how many times? and look at the woman he's married to now. All the stuff that she had gone through in previous relationships, the type of nigga that she was, the type of niggas that she was with, etc. Ain't nobody take that into. Now, granted, we aren't friends with them, but advice is advice, whether it's coming from a friend or whatever, and how you can easily mislead people based on a premise that's not actually reality. DJ Envy, for instance, this here talking about generational wealth don't own shit. Why am I gonna take advice from a nigga who ain't? I mean, so it's those kind. You got to be willing to look at the facts. And a lot of times we overlook facts of past experiences because we want to appease a friend.
That's very so true.
Or we look too much into them.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So you got to be able. You got to have some kind of gumption fortitude within yourself to say, okay, this don't even sound.
This don't sound good. Like this don't sound good.
This don't sound like I'm gonna benefit from this by making said decision or whatever.
It don't make sense.
Yeah, don't be living vicariously through me trying to see some. Like, if you trying to see me victorious through my situation because your trauma, like, for real, if you like, hey man, I've been down this road before. You don't want to go,
right? Yeah.
Stay with it. Stay where you at. Because what the old players say, it's cheaper to keep her.
Yeah.
It's cheaper to keep her. It's cheaper to keep her. So yeah, I feel you on that.
But I think that's a Steve Harvey lens, though.
What?
Where you was like, nobody looking into the fact that he's been married 3 times, but I think a lot of his content is like, look, I've been down that road before. This is my 3rd time.
That is
so
a good.
In all of my failing, you know, here is the wisdom that I can give you on what not to do. Maybe the mistakes that I made as I went through that process, like for you to look at. But then some people be like, well, you've been married 3 times, so you ain't qualified.
Right.
You know
some people would say
like,
that
I wouldn't listen to you.
But you could still pull some nuggets from that. I'm not saying follow the blueprint start to finish, because in his book he also had a list of stuff that you should follow. What was your list 3 times ago?
But maybe his failing is what helped him build the list.
Which is true, but again, you have to have the acumen to know, okay, this is what I can pull and apply to my situation, and not that, because I don't want to fail 3 times before I get it right. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be able to pull accordingly and apply the nuggets that make sense to you.
Hey, Steve Harvey, shout out to you. Give us a record deal. I mean, a recording deal.
Ask for stuff that don't exist.
You need a podcast network, and we need to be your flagship.
Yes. But yeah, and granted, like I said, Steve has done a lot of good for some folks, but again, it's not applicable to everybody's situation. You know what I mean?
He does give a lot of good advice, like on his talk show and stuff.
Yes.
Like people ask him questions, and he does a really good job. And I think that boils down to is like, all right, he do got a resume. You know what I'm saying? In which he could speak into this. Yeah. So
the thing is, though, when people have voice and influence, a lot of times a lot of people take that as gospel. When that's not the case all the time.
Yes.
Because again, nobody goes back and look at, okay, this is where they came from. This is where they had a misstep here. They had to take a step back, and then we often look at the end and not the journey throughout. You know what I'm saying? And I think that applies to friendships as well. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And hindsight is always 20/20.
For sure. For sure.
There's a phrase. There's a phrase. And I'm only saying this because, you know, it is a thing amongst men. It's called PostNut Clarity.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of that before?
Of course.
I'm probably going to delete this part.
Don't leave it in there. We need that.
But it's for men in a sense of once they went through a situation, normally time is pursuing someone, and, you know.
After I got the yams, do I still want you to be here or not?
And then after it's done, you're like, you know what? This was
good off that.
Yeah, I'm good. That's what it is.
I'm good off that.
Yeah.
I say that to say this. Oftentimes we need to quit looking at if I do this right here, this is going to give me the freedom, blah, 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 blah. Cool, it's going to give you the freedom, but what's the cost of that?
Right.
What's going to come after that?
Yeah.
Your friend, I say a good friend is a person that not only shows you what could happen, to like the good part, but also is going to tell you, but this is also what you're going to have to endure too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Which I think we oftentimes forget that there are actions and consequences.
Every decision.
Is actions and consequences.
Choices and decisions are free. And I don't know if you've seen Fall of House of Usher on Netflix. Have y'all seen that? So anyway, it's based on a series, but it's based on the poems of Edgar Allan Poe from back in the day. But anyway,
I'm on it. I'm watching that today.
Anyway, so it was a brother and a sister, and essentially it was death who came and gave them an option. You know what I mean? You can have one wish that you want for life.
Sure.
And they was like, we want to change the world and we want to be rich, for all of our lineage to be rich. And the only thing death told them was, when you die, your whole lineage dies.
Sheesh.
And they took that option.
Uh-huh.
So they rich beyond measure, live a great life, etc. But all his kids start dying throughout the show.
Hey, man. Hey, no more spoilers. I want to watch this when I get to the crib.
But what I'm saying is,
laying the foundation.
But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, you are always, and it to apply it to this conversation, death was that friend. You got multiple options. What option you gonna take?
Come on, Lace.
And this is gonna be the outcome of your decision. And a lot of times we don't have people who in our space that will tell us these are the options. You go do whatever you want to do. But if you take route A, this is how you can impact others positively, or this is how it's going to impact you and those connected to you down the line. And that's how it, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, have y'all ever given somebody some advice? You be like, hey, man, this, that, boom, da, boom, boom, boom. But at the end, you tagline it with, but hey, that's just me.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to do you. That's just me.
I don't never say that. I feel like people say, like, use that tagline when they're basically giving a what I would do advice.
Right.
So I never use that because I don't give a what I would do advice.
Yeah, because that ain't me.
It ain't me. I give you advice based on what I think you should do.
Right.
Based on what you told
telling me. Right.
Yeah, so I don't have to tag. I don't be like, hey, but you do.
I think some people also tag it as like, but if you take it, you gonna take everything with it. You gonna take everything with it, and I ain't got nothing to do with it.
What you should do is this is what you should do based on what you're telling me.
Yeah.
You might not do what I'm telling you to do, but you should.
But hey, what do I know? I'm just a man.
Hey, I just drink water and stay out the way.
I do say that. But what do I know?
But what do I know?
What do I know? I do say that though. In the condescending way, I definitely say that.
Because if they take your advice and they get tricked up, it's on you. They're gonna be like, "But Mel told me."
But then they don't even be executing to the extent that you gave them.
That's the piece.
You give them the advice and they do a piece of it. And then it don't work out. And they be like, you told me to do it. And then what did you do? And then they run down the list. They done skip steps 3 and 4 and jump to 7. Like, you didn't follow this.
IKEA sell furniture every day that niggas got to put together themselves. How many pieces of the execution are left over on a regular basis?
Well,
they ain't stopped selling furniture.
I got this big board right here. I'm trying to figure out why the bookshelf keep falling.
They don't be executing.
Exactly.
They don't be executing, bro.
Execution is actually more than advice or giving somebody the blueprint. And I say that all the time in the workspace and in relationship spaces, etc. You gotta execute, yo. It's nothing worse than having a role player who don't know their role, bruh.
I just want to say that I don't know how many number of episodes it was ago, but I got into a very spirited debate with the two of you about disposable versus indisposable. And I strongly remember Lace saying that everyone is disposable.
Everybody is. I stand on that.
Everybody's disposable. Lace said
I'm standing on business.
I'm
standing on business.
And I said that everybody is not disposable. And we argued about it. I just want to use this instance as a case for me to say that everybody is not indisposable. Look at what happened. She got rid of this. And now her brain is clicking and saying, hey, I threw away a fork that shouldn't have been in the trash or a utensil that shouldn't have been in the trash. It was indisposable, but I disposed of it.
Right. That proves my point.
No.
Hey, real quick, I just want to.
It don't.
So hold on. Before you keep your thoughts, I just want to let just a quick correction because when we titled that episode, I looked up how to spell indisposable because I didn't want to misspell it when we posted it. It's actually indispensable. That's the phrasing.
We DJ Khaled. We creating our own dictionary. We creating our own
I just wanted to let it be known. Okay.
I'm my own dictionary.
Indisposable.
Right.
It was indisposable.
Yeah.
Just because you can do something don't mean that it is that way. That's all
not
I
true,
was saying.
my
That's
nigga.
all I
What
was
the fuck?
saying.
What are you talking about?
That's what I was. You can drive with your feet if you want to. That don't mean you're supposed to.
What I'm saying
Just
is
because you can don't mean that you should, and just because you can do a thing don't
that's
mean
it.
that
It's the should versus can.
Right. So at the end of the day, he may have been anecdotally indisposable based on her reflection,
right.
but the was disposed of.
Yes.
That's what
So
I'm
at
saying.
the end
It's
of the
not-
day, the premise, if we going back previous episodes, because we could go back into it.
we can do it.
Because I'm standing on business. Okay? I'm standing on business, all right? The was disposed of.
He was
period.
disposed of, but that don't mean that he was disposable.
So the question is, should he have been? No. Shouldn't have been disposed of. But was he?
Yes. That is my point.
But I agree with you. He shouldn't have been
Okay.
disposed.
All right.
and that's what happened when you stand on business.
No. It's fine.
But I understand.
Indisposable.
I understand exactly what you're saying.
Just like with the previous episodes, we talked about the Weathermans. You bought them thinking that they were indisposable.
No, I didn't think that they was indisposable. I thought they was, they
But
were worth the risk.
After reflection,
After trying it out.
you disposed of them.
Right.
So what I'm saying is you can go into something thinking, okay, not indisposable, but you can dispose of.
Right. I'm just saying,
Stand on business.
just because you can, don't mean that it's that way.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying.
just because you can don't mean that you should.
That's all I'm saying.
But you have to face the consequences and repercussions based on the
Consequences and
decisions that you make.
repercussions.
And
Just
that was my point about indisposable.
but
the
it's still
consequences and
disposed of,
repercussions.
though.
That's what I'm
Right.
saying.
So again, I'm
If
speaking.
the consequences and repercussions outweigh the action,
I agree with you.
They should be.
I agree with you.
Indisposable.
What I'm saying is, though, you can physically dispose of something,
Right.
just like I said previously. You can physically dispose of something that should have been indisposable, but it's based on your choices and decisions.
Right.
Just like when them kids was eating all them damn Tide Pods. You can do that. I
can
wouldn't
do that.
advise it,
right,
but you can.
right.
So when you're dealing with intestinal issues, etc., that's something.
Exactly.
So it all boils down to choices and decisions.
That's
Choices
all I was
and
saying.
decisions.
That was my point. Now you proving my point. I thank you.
I think we're both saying the same thing.
And that's where we landed on that episode.
But-
We were saying the same thing, but Mel just got to be like, I was right. Nah, I'm standing on business.
You
nigga.
are right, and then also this.
both ends.
It's a both
Both ends.
It's
ends.
a both end.
That's
It's
all.
a both
I'm just
ends.
saying.
We haven't brought that back in a while
Hey, I hadn't seen that in a while.
I know.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that in a while.
because we moving on. We bigger and greater things.
Bigger and greater things, my guy.
We got a few minutes left.
All right.
I think we kind of exhausted this.
We did.
Should we mention that there are bigger and greater things on the way for us?
Let's wait for the next one.
Yeah, I was about to
That
say.
way we
yeah,
can
yeah,
drop
yeah,
it
yeah,
early
yeah,
on.
yeah,
You know what I
early on.
mean? But as y'all
I mean,
know,
it is coming. It is coming.
as
though.
y'all know, the boys be growing and flowing.
We
You
do.
know what I'm saying?
The boys
so
is growing and flowing.
You might
We do.
want to tap in and connect appropriately because time is coming.
Time is coming.
And you should have got on the train early.
should have got on the train.
Should
early.
have, and yes, anywhere in the train.
I'm telling you.
Caboose. The caboose. The caboose.
Oh my goodness, bro! You were doing so good until just now.
Hey, but for real, like, I'll be honest with you. This was me hanging out with my friends. It still is me hanging out with my friends. And I think we got to a point where it was like, yo, people need to know more about this.
They do.
They need to know more
For
about
sure.
this.
For sure.
And people have reached out to us and saying, hey, people need to know more about this.
Right. You know you're doing something right when those kind of inquiries start coming along.
Nothing to tell right now,
Yeah.
but more to be revealed a little bit later on.
More to be developed.
More to be developed. But in the sense of this, I think
I'm saying it that way from now on.
we're saying what?
More to be developed.
More to be developed. I think with all that being said, check your friends.
Yeah.
Check your inventory of friends. I hate to say this, but you may have to put them in categories and like, all right, this is my friends I play spades with, but I don't get no advice from. This is the people I get advice from, but I don't play basketball with. You know what I'm saying? Like, figure out who that is. I am the friend that you want to play basketball with and get advice from because I can give you a double on both ends.
Whoa.
Triple double.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, that was crazy plausible. That was crazy plausible just now. Try to compliment myself and see no good thing comes from whatever. Mm-hmm. But anyway,
what's the moral?
We got to check our friends.
Check our friends.
Make sure you know which friends you can get advice from. And so yeah, that's all I got as far as
that's what it is, yeah.
Right. And married people just never get relationship advice from single people. I don't care how long y'all been friends. Just they can't give you the advice. It's not because they not they're stupid or nothing like that. They're not in your situation. They never walked a day in your shoes, bro.
He is on one, bro.
I'm just saying they haven't been where you've been. They can't give you the advice. They don't have the experience. They don't have that situation. You got to find people that are on the same playing field as you that can give you the type of insight and advice that you need. So
as my grandma would say, you can't compete where you don't compare.
That's fair.
You can't compete where you don't compare. I like it. It's good stuff.
All right, close this out.
This has been the Manly D's podcast. It's your boy T. Roy. We out.